Let me know if this sounds familiar to you. Have you ever had a goal or something you're excited about? Maybe you wanted to get better at dating. Maybe you wanted to start a business. Maybe you wanted to become a better cook. And you were so committed to this thing happening, and you showed up day after day after day after day, putting in the reps, and you still didn't get the results you wanted, and you felt burnt out, and you were questioning, should I keep doing this? For me, this was so true. Last year, I was living in Columbus, Ohio with a friend. We had started a coaching business for young adults, really cool concept where we taught self-development in a community container to young people. And outside of that, I was working on launching a high-performance coaching practice for myself, where I wanted to work with high-achieving individuals and help them understand how they could create a greater sense of well-being in their life by understanding their mind, body, spirit connection, essentially. And every day I'd post on Instagram, do all these things, reach out to people, all this stuff. I was working so hard. I was human optimization coach, so I was working like 16 hours, 17, 18 hours a day, sleeping 6 hours a day, doing all this crazy stuff. And it didn't work, and I burnt myself out. And here's the concept that I want to talk to you about today. It is called the strategic regroup. I picked up the actual term from this book, Reboot, that I read over the holidays. I was like, wow, I've done that, and it's worked really well. I think I called it a strategic reboot. A strategic regroup. So what is a strategic regroup, and why am I sharing this with you today? So essentially, a strategic regroup is all about listening to our intuition and being willing to take feedback and data and re-strategize our approach, and being willing to concede failure but actually get more success in the long term. And Tony Robbins has a framework that is exactly that. It's like take action, assess, and pivot if you need to, but at least you have to start with taking action. So sharing a story with you, in that moment, I was living in Ohio. It was the winter. I was depressed because it was COVID, and I had no one to hang out with because I only knew this dude, and it's Ohio. Who wants to live in Ohio? Literally nobody. And I paused, and I was like, you know what? Screw this. I had an intuition, which is something that as we go through our life and follow our goals and grow as a human, our intuition, and the more just listen to ourselves, our intuition gets stronger and stronger. But it told me, you do not have the internal nor external resources you need to hit your goals right now. Clearly, you've done so much work. You are just going so hard, typing away on the computer, posting, reaching out, sales calls. It just was not working. Strategic regroup. Being able to put my ego down and say, okay, my current strategy isn't working. Yes, I've hired and worked with professional coaches who taught me a strategy. It's not working right now, so what can I do? I decided I'm going to work on embodiment of what I am practicing. How can I just be a living, breathing example of all the things that I'm talking about to other people? Work on my healing childhood trauma, stepping into the most powerful confidence I know I had inside of me at the time, but wasn't expressing. And I'm going to work on connecting with humans. I was looking to see if I had the book here, and I don't. But I read a few books all about human connection. I was like, what I'm going to focus on is literally building amazing relationships around serving other people. I went to Mexico. I spent a month doing nothing but refining how I express myself, how I communicate to other people, how I build relationships and serve others. And then I moved to Austin, Texas, and spent 6 months. I cleared my plate. I didn't work on my business at all. I barely posted on Instagram for 6 months and focused only on relationship building. What happened? I got invited to be a founding member of the Empowered Brotherhood movement. Literally, the coaches, the men who founded this business that I get to now be partners with are the men I looked up to more than anyone in the world, because they are the epitome of powerful, successful men in the coaching space. And I get to be their peer, and I get to coach alongside them. In addition to that, I now host 6-7 retreats a year where we're getting 40, 50 people at these retreats. We're doing every other week different really cool networking self-development events all under a brand that I built, where we attract, hundreds of people over the months to come together and talk about self-development, something I'm deeply passionate about. Intimate relationships have been so beautiful since I've been in Austin because I've created this space that I could heal the things that I had been carrying around with me from my childhood and some of the relationships that didn't pan out well that I never emotionally addressed. So my life has gotten infinitely better in many different areas of my life, which continues to invite more and more cool opportunities for business and fun and connection and adventure, because I was willing to listen to my intuition and do a strategic regroup. So my question for you, and this is something that may apply for you now today, or it's something that you can store in your mind and remember for the future as an option that you have. We don't have to die on the sword of what we think is true. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is be willing to reassess. As long as you're constantly putting out energy, be willing to step back and say, is this the right approach? Not everyone's path is going to look different. Just because you paid someone to teach you a system or a process doesn't mean that that's going to be perfect for you and your temperament. Only each of us as individuals has such a unique life path that's going to unfold unlike anybody else's. So as long as you're crystal clear and your subconscious deep inside your soul knows what you are meant to create in your life, in relationships, in your relationships, in your career, in how you feel in your body, your confidence, how you express yourself, as long as you know the truth of that, everything else will happen the way it's supposed to, as long as you're willing to listen to yourself. Yes, it's easy to second guess. How do we not second guess ourselves and acknowledge that no choices are truly permanent? I made a decision to leave my corporate life in Chicago and live in a freaking van. I didn't live in a van because I had $0. I had an awesome, expensive lifestyle. I chose to live in a van because my intuition told me that's what you need to do. Telling my mom, hey, I know I have this really safe, comfortable, elite life. I'm going to go live in a van and travel around and hike and who knows what else I'm going to do. Did that make any sense? No, it was a strategic regroup for my entire life. It created the foundation for me to go inward and start to heal and define what happiness and well-being and fulfillment meant to me, and then pursue that out in the external world and create the relationships around that. So where in your life can you create a strategic regroup? Where do you need to step back from something that's not working? Again, maybe it's now, maybe it's in the future, but knowing that you have that choice, that you get to reassess, and there's no shame in saying this isn't working. No matter what, through iteration, we are learning, we are developing, we are growing, and maybe it's not the strategy for you. So I'm leaving you with that today. Hope you had an awesome time. Like, subscribe, follow, share this with your friends if they liked it, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.